Video is sponsored by my OnlyFans, where I do my meaningful sex educational content, fitness, health, nutrition, relationship advice, and more. Hi guys, and welcome to the Empress Show and to this first part of The Lion, Son of the Forest, book, like summary and a review. So we're going to do this in the following manner. I'm going to take a look closely at the first few chapters of the book, and then we're going to continue with another few chapters of the book, because these books, guys, are very vast and a lot of things are happening. A lot of things have been put down in terms of in between the lines information and direct information, and we often actually forget what happened, who said what, and why. So some of these things, of course not every word, but some of these elements of the 40k books does need a bit more attention. So that is why I decided to do this in this format, and I put on the community tab a questionnaire towards you guys, and most of you decided to agree that this is going to be an interesting way to do things, and maybe at the end I'm going to do like an overall book review. It all depends on you really, guys. So hi to everybody in the chat. I'm going to do this as usual, like a video format, so we don't, waste a lot of time with, going off topic. And then I'm going to take a look at the comments, and if there's any questions, or just, to read your comments as I usually do. Well, yeah, that's what we're going to do. Basically, I don't know where I was going with this. So, guys, the lion, he awakes, and he has awakened in a forest, and he does not know where he is, and he's just like, well, who am I? Where is this? What is what? Basically, that's how it goes. He tries to direct his senses towards the environment and see if he can pick up on something, and he starts to walk. So, okay, I have some, this time I had my notes. So let's see here. In chapter 1, basically I call that chapter, this chapter wasn't called this way, I'm pretty sure, but I called it this way because the book is very interesting, guys. This new writer, Mark Brooks, I think, I really like him. I mean, from out of the all writers so far, I mean, of course, I like Don Eminent. I always mistake one or two letters of his name. I'm sorry. I'm really good with faces, not so good with names. That's a bad one. But you know very well who I'm talking about. So yeah, I really like him, but I also like some kind of a, a different type of writing where you don't actually lose the thought and the stream of events that are depicted, or the environment, or whatever it is that is depicted in the book. I mean, Mark Brooks just writes things a bit more clear and easier to follow. So because he does. Okay, so the walker. So what my thought here was that in the beginning, the lion is depicted as the walker, then he becomes the hunter, and you see how with this progression, he has his own progression of remembering who he is. And guys, we have no freaking idea where he has been for 10,000 years and why he got old. So there's that, and he also has no idea, basically. So the walker, he listens, and starting being aware of himself. There's a mist, thick trees. His hair is still blonde here and there, but gray overall. He's older, but he can't feel it. He has loss of memory. One of the things that I wrote down. So yeah, basically, and this is for me to remember. But yeah, he sees that he is older, but he doesn't actually feel older, which it's cool, if he can feel it. I mean, he's a freaking Primarch after all. So whatever is the reason for him looking older, maybe his body physically hasn't aged that much. At least that's my theory. Or because he's a Primarch, he can't really feel that anyway. And to get older as a Primarch is not the same, of course, as to get older as a regular freaking human, or not even an Astardi for that matter. So then he finds his helmet, which is pretty cool, by the way. He puts it on, he sees some interesting data about the planet, the humidity levels, and all of the details that you might want to know about the place that you are in, so you can get any kind of an idea what the heck's happening. So he starts feeling a presence, shadows with unknown origin, some animals in the distance as well. He finds a building, a castle, that it's described as like looking eternal, like it's not old, it's not new, but it kind of like just looks eternal. It's just there. It's very interesting the way that this is described. Then he finds a boat, and this is where things get a bit more interesting. We start getting interesting. So one person in the boat that looks very withered, I'm paraphrasing here, wears a crown. He's like a small ancient figure. It's like a king, basically. So the old king looked at the walker but didn't answer, and looked at the water again. Shadows lurk there. The king is wounded. So basically, the lion tried to speak to this old king, but he ignored the lion and just looked at the water again. And in that water, there was a lot of shadows there that were lurking. So other people, as well as me, sees this as a reference, of course, to the emperor. It's like a metaphor of his withering shape, form, that he is, half dead. And all the shadows, I mean, the warp, the demons, they all are like sharks in the water that are just waiting for him to just fall off the metaphorical boat so they can eat him up. So that is how this looks like. Now, how much this is actually real and is really happening in the real material world, I have no idea. It looks like that, but also this whole place where the lion awakened and he started walking around and so on, this whole place looks like a limbo to me, and you will see further why is that. So okay, after that, a watcher appears. Some watcher apparently, appears and says, "Come back to the bank." He also says that this place is home. So some kind of a apparition, not really sure, appears, and I don't know. I mean, when I was reading the book, listening to the book, I kind of imagine that is like somewhere towards the bank, and it said to the lion, go back, come back here, because the lion decided to go in the water and talk to the king and be like, "Hey king, just pay me some attention here, I need some answers." So he was really determined to do that, but then all the shadows started also circling him, and this watcher guy, or whatever it is, warned him that those things are going to kill him, so he better not approach a conversation with this king. Just isn't worth it at the moment. And also it's very interesting that this watcher creature says that this place is home. It's very weird. Maybe it is part of the warp, because the Primarchs, their origin has a lot to do with the powers of chaos and the warp. Maybe that's what the watcher meant. I'm not really sure. I think there's a lot of metaphor here. That's kind of like the point, So then the watcher says that the walker doesn't ask the right questions, which is very interesting as well. Because, the lion was like, "Where am I? Who am I?" or something like that. And what is this place? What happened? And not what happened, but yeah, you know what I mean. The walker goes on its way. he starts remembering that he has brothers all of a sudden. I mean, when he starts just, talking in his head, all of a sudden he's like, oh, brothers, I had some brothers somewhere. And the Watcher keeps reappearing. And then who is the king and who is the Watcher? This is something that I wrote to myself, but really the king should be the emperor, like I've said, and the Watcher, who knows? I mean, my first thought was like, oh, the Star Child for some reason. Maybe it's the Star Child. Why would it be the Star Child? But the Star Child is also a presence that is in the warp, and it's like a second expression second expression of the emperor. There's a lot of theories about that. So why wouldn't the emperor use this form that's kind of like more active to communicate with the lion, because his other form is really, really weak? I mean, to me that makes sense. It could be anything, but to me that just makes sense. Okay, then follow your nature, says the Watcher, and in this way he basically hints that if the lion follows his nature, he will discover what he wants to discover. I mean, he will find more answers, and that is exactly what happened, because then the lion just went out on this basically like a quest, and the more he continued, the more things happened and the more things he discovered, and eventually he found himself. That's great. So then from the walker, actually, the lion start being referred to as the hunter. So he starts hunting something that is really corrupt. He can smell it in the air. It's not like an animal. It's really something else. So he goes after a corrupt creature, some kind of a beast, which is also an interesting thing. But we are going to probably go back on the corrupt part of it. And remember, guys, when I'm doing these, when I'm breaking down the book in this way, I actually have gone to a point that's a bit further on, beyond this point that we're going to discuss, but I'm not, I have not finished the book yet. So it's also interesting to try to dissect things without knowing anything more. So I literally know what I'm talking about by this point. I mean, not that I know it, I mean that I can analyze it only by this point, and then if something else is revealed further down the book, I might be right or wrong, or just proven right or wrong in future books, who knows. So just have that in mind. I have not finished the book. So then okay, so yeah, okay, I got it. I had to expand my notes, but I found it. So he went out of the region he called home, which is also interesting. It's like the land came out of this forest area, like the limbo area, that's how I'm going to call it, and then he just went somewhere else. And a lot of times when I read or listen to the same thing, basically any book, there's so many moments like that, and you transition from one part of the book to the next and you don't know what the heck happened. You just lose that, but those details are pretty important to me. So he starts fighting with one creature, then two more creatures. There's also people there for the first time, so like 3 people, 1 kid, 2 adults, something like that. They are pretty much very scared and stunned by what they're seeing. They're like shocked, just frozen in there, watching with horror what's happening. They don't look very ambitious to get out of the way or just do anything. They're just frozen there. I'm paraphrasing once again. So yeah, the people are terrified. Then we get to chapter 3, actually. I'm gonna look at your comments real quick. Okay. Not going to hide to Leonard as well. The Watcher is a Watcher in the dark. They are native to Caliban and allies to the Dark Angels against Chaos since before the lion has been found. Okay, so one of these little creatures with the hoods that are displayed on the mini. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, I didn't know that. I mean, I know the creatures, but I didn't know the same creature because I haven't read a lot about them. So, okay, this is something that I gotta see. for these creatures in general. I mean, more about them. Okay, so the battle eventually is won. And the lion asks what is the name of the world that he is on. And one of the humans says that this world is called Kamot. First, never heard it before. The hunter talks to the humans. Yeah. The hunter doesn't know his name yet. The people explain that there is another who is their protector, and this is again another interesting piece added to the whole mix, because hey, those people actually have another protector. So they change their world and everything changed. So yeah, this a human explains that something happened, that like the world ended. The lion is like, what? But we are here, so how the heck the world has ended? And this human explains that, well, they, whoever they are, came and basically destroyed the world in some way or another, and like it's almost like chaos got some stuff in there, like integrate in their nature and their wildlife and all creatures or nature and the environment, all of that kind of like changed, something like that. But yet I'm still not beyond this point, so yeah. So the hunter asks for a knife to skin the animal that he killed, the creature. The humans seem very tired of life. No future seemed possible, so yeah, they're very down. And the protector comes. After that, they bring the lion to their camp. After that, their protector comes, and it's revealed that it's actually a space marine, which is super awesome. Like, this is so awesome. And in the second that he sees the lion, he starts shooting at him. And yeah, by this point, I was like, there's a space marine there, yay! Because in the beginning I just thought that the lion is like on this very isolated planet and there's nothing there. But it's good that this happened, and he's not actually on such a planet. Like, for example, he's not on a place like Rogol Dorn was in the last Horus Heresy book, where we discovered he was there for eons of time, basically, all alone, counting bodies and sand and anyway, so this space marine was in black armor, a silver trim, some sword as well, and the lion starts remembering a lot at once. He sees like golden, glowing golden presence, a death of a planet ordered by his hand. The space marine opens fire. That's what I said. So yeah. Then it's revealed that this guy, we're at chapter 4 now, it's called Zadriel. He's Terran-born. He's from the 15th chapter of the First Legion, and that makes him a Dark Angel. The First Legion, the greatest legion, the purest legion. Those are things that actually he says, Zadriel. He says all of that. He starts, we continue basically the whole scene in the book with a monologue from Zadriel, and he explains a lot of things. Just a lot. That he was one of the oldest space marines, basically. Not only one of the first legion, but he was there even before they discovered the land or something like that. So he is super old, and they have a conversation with him eventually, which we're going to get to next time. So it's very interesting. This is where it gets like super interesting, and what is revealed just clears things up about why this space marine is one of the fallen, why they fell, what actually happened, and it's just a very interesting misunderstanding. It's kind of like ridiculous, really. And he survived all of those years. Had to think that his Primarch is a jerk, and his Primarch had to think bad about them. So it's kind of a mess, but it's so interesting. So next time we're going to cover that, maybe like 5 more chapters, as many as I can do with one go. I will have my notes again, and yeah, guys, so that's gonna be it for the first part, but it starts super. And I can't wait to hear more because, as I said, I really enjoy this guy Mark Brooks style of writing. Just very good, very easy to follow. So let me know what you think, guys, in the comments. If you read the book, if you like it so far, I really want to get Arcs of Omen, but I don't see any version of it that's audio. If you have anything, I mean, if you have any knowledge about that, let me know in the comments because I really can't tell. And I gotta check those creatures, the Watchers, and just get familiar more with them, I guess. So thank you guys so much for watching this live summary and quick analysis of the first part of the book. Love it, and see you next time with Pinky Reviews. If you like to support me, there's always Patreon, PayPal, and everything else, and of course OnlyFans, where I do all of my coaching, meaningful sex educational content, fitness, health, nutrition, relationship advice, and more. And there's one more thing that I wanted to say, but okay, I'm going to leave it for next time. Yeah, okay, there's a very slight chance that I might get some minis from one of you. And if that happens, I'm gonna paint minis here on the channel. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, and they're custodies as well. Oh my gosh, okay. I hope that happens, guys. So keep your fingers crossed. Custodies, my favorite. So, see you guys next time. Love ya. From me, the Empress. Bye bye.